Hi developers! So we need to add JavaScript and the slider will start working. Alright, in the JS folder, we create a file called script.js and then connect it to the HTML file by writing script_src equals js/script.js. In this file, we need to save all paths to the images of the slider, meaning the file slide1 JPEG, slide2, and slide3. So, let's create an array called images, and we assign the 3 images to it. Since it is an array, the first image has the index number 0, the second image has the index number 1, and the last picture has the index number 2. So to work with the array, we create a variable called currentImage with the initial number 0, meaning the first image of the slide. So when we click the Next button, the value of the currentImage variable is increased by 1, and as a result, the slider image changes to the second one. Then we click the Next button one more time. The currentImage variable is again increased by 1, and the third image of the slider will be shown. After that, when we click the Next button a third time, the currentImage value changes to 0, and again we see the first image of the slider. So that's how our slider is supposed to work when we click the Next button. And if we click the previous button, the images will be changing in the reverse order, meaning the currentImage value decreases. Okay, to change the src value, first we search for the image by writing letSliderImage equals document.querySelector. Let's see which class the image has. Aha, sliderImage. So we search for the image by its class name, sliderImage. The next thing that we need to do is to search for all 3 buttons. To do this, we type in letNextBTN equals document.querySelector. Let's see which class this button has. Okay, it is slider button next. Now, we duplicate the line 2 more times and change next to pref here and here. Then change next to play for the play button. Now we're going to create a function to display the next image of the slider. Let's call it nextImage. So, let's take a look at how it is supposed to work for the next button. We have a total of 3 images, so the length of the array is 3, right? But the index numbers of these images are 0, 1, and 2. That means that the highest index number is 2. Then we'll be checking that if currentImage value is less than images.length minus 1, or in other words, if it is less than the biggest possible index number, which is 2, then we increase the currentImage value by 1. Otherwise, if currentImage is larger than the biggest index number 2, then we set the new value of 0 for the currentImage variable. Now we need to change the src value of the variable sliderImage. To do this, we write sliderImage src equals images currentImage. So, when the user clicks on the Next button, we have to call the nextImage function. Therefore, we type in that when the Next button is clicked, the nextImage function has to be called. Okay, save and refresh. Let's click the Next button, and we see the next image. Let's click one more time, and again, we see the new image. So whenever we click the Next button, a new image appears. Great! Everything works. Now we're going to apply the same approach, but for the previous button. So we copy this entire function and paste it below. Let's make some adjustments. Firstly, we change the name of the function to prevImage. Secondly, we change the condition of the function. If current image is greater than the number 0, then we decrease the value of current image by 1. But if the current image value is 0, then we set the index number of the last image, meaning images.length minus 1. And again, the src value of the slider image will be changed, and we will see a new image. Now we copy this line of code and paste it below. Then we change nextBTN to prevBTN. And also, we replace the function nextImage with prevImage. Okay, let's check it out. Alright, the back and forth buttons work. Excellent. Now we need to work on the play button. Let's make it so that when we click this button, images will be changing every second. So that means that we need to call the nextImage function every second, right? Alright, let's create another function called autoplay. We call a setInterval function. The first argument is an error function which has to be executed. And as the second argument, we set that the function has to be called every 1000 milliseconds, or in other words, every second. And inside of this error function, we call the nextImage function. Now, every time the play button is clicked, the autoplay function has to be called. To do this, we type in playbtn, add event listener, click autoplay. Let's see what we get. We click the play button, and as we see, it works. But if we click the play button a few times, we will see that it doesn't work properly. The slides are changing too fast. So why is that? Because every time we click the play button, the separate setInterval function is called. Not one, but many setInterval functions. Each setInterval function calls the nextImage function. So as a result, the slides are changing really quickly. So let's fix that. If the play button is clicked once and then a second time, we need to stop the autoplay function. After that, when the play button is clicked one more time, again the autoplay function has to be called. So to do this, we create a variable called interval. And then we assign this setInterval to this variable. Now, before calling the setInterval function, we check if interval is true, meaning if some value has been assigned to the interval value. Then we stop the setInterval function. To stop it, we call the clearInterval function and pass the interval variable to it. Finally, we set null as the interval value. Otherwise, if the interval value is empty, meaning it doesn't work, then we call the setInterval function. Okay, save and refresh the page. Now click the play button. Alright, everything works. Now we click the play button a second time. The changing of images has been stopped. Alright, let's again click the play button, and the slider is working. Awesome. Everything works as intended. And now we need to work on the last thing. We have to change the icon of the button from play to pause. So let's search for the pause icon. Okay, we see that our play button has the class FaPlay. Now we search for the pause icon. And there. This icon has the class FaPause, while the play button's class is FaPlay. So when the slider is changing the images, we need to delete the class FaPlay and set the class FaPause. And when the slider is paused, we need to replace the class FaPause with the class FaPlay. So after the slide is either played or paused, we need to change the icons on the play button. As you can see, the icon is nested inside of the button with the class slider_button_play. This tag I is a child element of the button. Moreover, it is the only child element of the button. So we need to find all child elements of the button and then take the element with the index number 0. Okay, let's do this. So we type in that for the element with the index number 0, we need to remove its icon. Of course, we could use the remove function, but then we had to add if-else conditions, which is not really convenient. Therefore, we are going to use another function called toggle. This function allows us to both add and remove new classes. So we add the class name FaPlay. And now, if the button is clicked and it has this class, the class will be removed. Otherwise, this class name will be added to the play button. Now we're going to apply the same logic for the class FaPause. So we change here to FaPause. Alright, it's time to check how it works. We see the play button with the play icon. Now we click on the button and the icon has been changed to the pause icon and the slider is working. Let's click one more time. And the icon has been changed to the play icon and the slider has been paused. So as you can see, all the buttons of the slider work correctly, which is lovely. And that means it's time to say, have a wonderful day and see you in the next video.